Welcome to the Coaching Life Podcast.
What? Hang on, I forgot something. I forgot. Wait.
I don't hear it. What was it?
Little Steve Miller band.
Did it get you amped?
Fly Like
Is that
an
a
Eagle.
pregame? Will that be playing Friday night?
It might be. It might be. Who knows? And a little bit of this, maybe.
You guys have your walk-up songs all figured out?
I don't know. That's not me. I'm sure they do.
It's important.
So here's the intro. So for those who don't know, this is opening week
Opening week.
for OHS, Ohio High School baseball. We get to open on a Friday night, and this year we Eastern are hosting Pat's Meg's Marauders. So it's game week.
Yep. It looked like it was going to be 71 and sunny. So
That's what it looked like last night.
thought we might have to. Well, I think
Did
it
it
went up. I
change?
think 50% chance of rain now.
Oh, but that's in the early morning. That's like,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
But, you know, it
We
wouldn't
can
have
handle that. Oh, even if it rains all day, we'll still play.
There's no softball game. There's no our bus. If we decide not to play, our bus will take us home right then. So the softball decision
Because they already played.
won't keep us there.
That's interesting because
both. Well,
because with your league games, is your softball team only playing non-league games? Because softball started a week early this year.
Yeah, they only have
softball always starts with baseball usually, but this year they started a week early. So I'm assuming that you're like our softball teams are probably only playing non-league games because we always travel with.
Yeah, Megs don't have a league game this week.
Yeah.
I think they play Point Pleasant Wednesday and go to Edina on Friday.
Gotcha.
I think, and then they played New Lex Saturday. They opened up with New Lex.
Hey, let me ask you this: when you travel together, do you guys have a big? You don't have a bus with an undercarriage, do you? Like a big bus? Is it pretty crowded on there?
Very crowded.
When you stacking stuff up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, I guess the beneficial softball team only travels with 10 or 11 players. I think when we went to Ironton, they had 11 maybe. So that helps a little bit. And then I've got some coaches that drive and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's pretty packed, definitely on the way up. The guys sitting together and girls sitting together.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
The thing about Megs with the transportation is that the bus stays with the driver. So there isn't I'm going to go pick up the travel bus, like you're talking about. With an undercarriage on it. So there's really no value for us to have a bus with maybe our buses do. One of our buses does have an undercarriage.
Right.
I don't.
There's
know.
no bus garage where they go park, check out a bus.
No, they keep. As far as the way I understand it is, they just keep. It's their bus.
The bus is parked at their house.
Yeah.
And then they've got to wash it and stuff like that too, right?
Maybe I don't know.
I feel. I don't know. Who knows?
But
Yeah.
so
I know my dad was thinking about doing a little bus driving with
Was
the
he?
Meg's local school
That'd
district
be
there for a
great.
little while. Yeah.
yeah, I think we need them.
Scott was calling for some those kinds of employees that they were running low on. I think so.
Yeah. Well,
Retired guys that may want to drive a bus
after this year, he's not going to have any grandkids playing.
right?
So
Playing, yeah.
he'll be able to, root for Megs, his home team. So,
His home team is Southern. He can't root for them though.
but where he lives is
Right.
Megs.
Oh,
so
gotcha, gotcha.
he'll be able to return.
His wife's alma mater
Yeah,
is
there you
Meg's.
go.
My mom. Yeah.
I assume Mr. and Mrs. Stewart will be at the game Friday.
We'll see if their grandson doesn't have a game. I don't know if he does or not. So that's
Forgot about
the
that,
priority. But I'm assuming Dad will definitely come out for sure. If not,
If he's
so,
free.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Might bring him a Megs hat.
Who you throwing? Who you pitching?
Who are you pitching?
I just changed the
It's a secret.
subject. Thought maybe I could get you to
I'll
slip
let
up
you
and
know
say
Friday
it.
afternoon.
Newsom, of course.
I told someone
Or
last night in your district. Who
Butcher,
we were
of
throwing.
course. Fackler, of course. Right. You told someone what?
I told someone from your district last night who I was pitching. No,
Corbin. No, he's not.
I also told him who you were pitching.
Oh, I'll tell you.
I know.
No. Number 2.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Do you have a 1, 2, and a 3
We actually have 4.
starters?
Yeah. Yeah, 4 starters and 5 relievers. And I got 1.
That gone.
Yeah. You know.
All right.
Ethan Stewart graduated a few years ago.
So you had to develop some pitching. That's right.
Very fortunate right now. Well, a lot of them are seniors. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are seniors.
Yeah.
But pitching depth is pretty good. You
Yeah.
know. We've got guys that can come in if someone's not having the day that they need to have. So as far as 1 and 2, 3, I don't know that we really have that. I think last year we had 2 kids that in the league that had a sub-1 ERA in league games
On your team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so actually another one that had some arm injury issues earlier in the season that didn't get a lot of opportunities that threw pretty well too in league games. So we have 4 guys that I think we're going to rotate through, and then we got a handful like a bullpen. It's kind of different. Not used to having that. I think the first 2 years we were very limited on our pitching, but last couple we've been in pretty good shape in that regard. So
I
got to play defense behind them.
Well, unless you have an Ethan Stewart,
right,
that can just get outs himself.
Yeah.
Or 18 of 21 outs himself.
Yeah.
Right. That's handy, but I'm with you there. It's important to develop defense when you're going to need to field ground balls and catch fly balls and run down some.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way. I think I like the number of guys that we have confidence in that can throw. No overpowering, anything like that, but just different types of guys. So
Sure.
We're still kind of wondering who our third starter is. I think we might have an idea now because we tested somebody out last night and who's thrown really, really well in relief. And in our last scrimmage, decided to start him and still pitched great. Just it wasn't the same effect that you have coming in from the bullpen after somebody else maybe throwing from the left side, throwing a little softer. And so he got hit pretty good. Mm-hmm. And so it was.
It's odd how that works.
It really is.
Mason Qualls last year was really effective for us off the mound, but he couldn't start. Like when we started him,
and
he
it's
had trouble,
okay.
But he would come in as relief and do a great job.
That's
a really good job.
There's a reason why your bullpen is full of relievers, and you've only got a handful of starters.
Yeah.
And college ball, pro ball, because those relievers have got to have a little more grit because they're not getting as much rest. I mean, in high school ball, you have to give them rest based on their pitch count.
Right.
But you could essentially, you could use a reliever every day in high school too. If he stays under 30 pitches every day, that's tough, And I think we've got a couple guys we could do that with, and I feel good about if we had to. And this guy we started last night is one of them. I feel like he's a guy that we could use an inning, get us out of this inning or get us through this inning, or we could even set him up with an opener. I don't know. I mean, I'm considering something like that too, but don't want to overthink pitching too much, but. Yeah.
Like I'm probably going to have the flexibility to, if a guy pitches one day, not have to play him in the field the next day. I know you've done that in the past. Or, actually remove him from the game, keep him in that designated player role.
Keep the arm from having to make a throw across the field when after it's thrown 90 pitches or more.
Yeah, so, we have 14 guys on our varsity roster, 15 maybe we got a kid that's rehabbing from ACL, so 15 guys on our varsity roster, and I think I think 4 or 5 positions we could see different all the time, and I think historically I haven't really made a lot of substitutions throughout the game, but I think we might be able to do that this year if someone's just not having a game that we think they're having. You can just tell someone's not hitting at the plate or something like
Yeah.
that. You can set, I think we have the resources to sub them out and give some other guys an opportunity to make an impact. So I think, looking forward to a little bit more management, during the games than what it has been.
Yeah.
So I look forward to it a little bit. I still wish that at the varsity level they would, adopt the new what I'll call the JV rule of as long as you stay in the same spot, you should be able to sub into that as many times as you want. They're doing that sub varsity
re-entry.
level. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you stay in the same batting order.
Yeah.
There's no.
You can re-enter the starter
a bench
and
player can re-enter
and re-enter the substitute
as
player.
many times as they want.
Yeah. I like that also. There's probably, like you said, there's probably no reason not to do it.
I think the one thing that I thought the reason you one reason they're not going to make that the rule is because it allows you to pinch run your fastest
Again and again and again.
Again and again and
yeah,
again.
Yeah. Which I would love the opportunity to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But
he would have to run for that same guy, but if that same guy gets on,
right.
why not?
Yeah. And if he's if you got a kid that can hit real well, but he's not the fastest in the world, why not have a runner that can come in and run for him every time he gets on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But if you do it for everybody, what's the problem? Or maybe it's not extended to pinch runners,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe a pinch runner can only pinch run one time, and then they can't pinch run again.
Yeah. Then he has to go play the field.
Or whatever.
Or just whatever, yeah. Or he's done.
Yeah.
I like the EH rule. I mean, pretty much across the board now in travel ball, I think. Well, I don't know. I haven't been
Just
in travel ball in a
10
handful of
guys.
years. Yeah, just having that extra guy that's in the order and you can use that spot. He could go to the field and the person that comes out is now he's essentially the EH. And then you could bounce that guy around.
That's the designated player, isn't it? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, but that it would be anybody could come out. Like if you have an EH, an extra hitter, then that guy could go play
For anybody.
right field one inning, and your right fielder stays in the order in the same spot that he's in.
Oh, yeah.
And he's essentially the EH,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
And
I
he
would
could go
like
play center field an inning, and that guy comes out. He goes plays left field. I mean, he could bounce around, because whoever's not in the field is the EH.
Right. Yeah, I'd be good with that.
I really kind of like that.
And why not? Because
it
doesn't give you a competitive advantage in any way because you're probably putting your 9 best fielders in the field in that situation.
Yeah.
So if you put that EH in the game, you're probably not as strong as I understand the circumstances,
or there
but
could
still.
be if I don't know, I like that pitcher thing where if you don't want to throw the pitcher the next day, but you want him to stay in the lineup instead of using him as a DH, because you already have another guy that you use as DH. Well, there you go. He's an EH. He's keeping his arm healthy.
Yep.
That might be the argument. That's the argument we can give to OHSAA.
I just want more flexibility in getting guys
Yeah,
in games,
flexibility.
especially at the end of games
Yeah.
when
We are a sport. People don't think about this very much. Baseball is a sport that is unlike any other when it comes to substitutions of the athletes. Think about a football game. It's free substitution. You can run on and off substitutes throughout the game. And so it really doesn't matter what your starting lineup is in a football game. Let's be honest, right? I mean, it's 22 different guys for some teams that play both ways. But after one play, you might put somebody else on and then bring that guy back on and all throughout the game. So it's you don't feel as bad for not being a starter. And, basketball is a little different. They put a lot of emphasis on that starting 5. They announce them. They go out. The lights are out at Megs and they're doing the disco ball and all that.
You can sub in and out as much.
But
as you
again,
want.
after 5 seconds, sub a guy in. And then he could come back off and on and off and off and on. Heck, soccer, I think they run on and off while the clock's still running.
Is that how they do it? Like
I don't know. But volleyball, you got to sub for the same player, but you can go in and out as much as possible.
Volleyball substituting. That might be the only word.
Is that what this means, a substitute?
Went and watched.
And then this is a technical. No, that's a timeout.
I went and watched Maya's girlfriend play this weekend. She would, before when the game would start, she would be on the floor. Actually, She would go on the floor.
Before the game would even start,
They sub. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
to establish that.
I'm sure this is some kind of like traditionalist volleyball rule that
I think
like,
there is a reason for it.
volleyball purists are like,
Get it.
you have to do that.
Coach Buckley, help
But I'm
us out
thinking-
here.
I'm
Put a
just thinking-
comment on the. Put a comment. Scroll up and put a comment. Tell us why that happens.
I'm
because-
just thinking, why not just it's a charade. It's almost like a post-game handshake line.
Doesn't
Anyways,
doesn't it? Boy, that's getting a lot of press here lately. There's been a lot of high school fights.
people
in
starting to
basketball
come
games.
around? Coach Martin's thinking. Here we go. You know, in the 70s.
How about we coach better?
You mean coach young
Why
men?
is that all of a sudden a phenomenon that people are fighting in the handshake line?
Yeah.
How about we be
agree.
better as coaches at
Well,
making
you know,
sure
in the
that our-
70s, they didn't handshake line. They didn't have a handshake line.
in what
so-
sport?
in
Any
any
sport?
sport.
It was just something that started.
Yeah.
In high school.
Just like the
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't look up the history of.
Bill Myers, our
Buddy.
scorekeeper, told us that.
What are you drinking there?
Can't tell you.
We don't want to know.
Cannot tell you.
You're getting lubed up.
It's tea.
Oh, gotcha.
It's tea. How do you feel?
We're not talking as much. There's a lot of silence. How do I feel about being 3 days away from our game? There are some things that we're not ready.
I was just going to ask you if you felt like, because I know it's like, I talked to our guys last night, and I'm like, are they ready?
I think
And we got 3
I would
days.
answer yes. Like I feel good about where we're prepared.
Yeah.
But still upset about missing signs. Right, we had a couple missed signs last night.
Surprisingly, my guys have
because I
done
wanted
pretty
to
good
try
job.
things. Right, I mean, we're in a scrimmage game, and it doesn't really matter. But it's a good time to try some things.
Yep.
And I gave a suicide squeeze to a guy that actually walked one, or got hit by pitch and flew out, and he's been flying out a lot. So I'm like, hey, you're a good bunter, and he thought it was a safety squeeze sign, and so it was and so we got the guy thrown out, hung up. I was an in play, an in play sign. We had a ball barreled to the gap. Runner on first base was running on the pitch, so he's thinking in his mind, I can score on this. But they got the ball in pretty quick, and so I'm holding him up at third, saying the throw's coming in. He's got his head down, just barreling around the base paths, and runs right through the stop sign and gets thrown out by 35 feet. And mental stuff like that you're going to get better at, and the only way to really get better at those is to have those failures during a game situation. And so we've tried to create those as much as possible in practice, but the game of baseball, something is inevitably going to happen for the first time today.
For sure.
And
You can't be prepared.
so I was
for
upset about the mental stuff last night a little bit, because I felt like, man, we're still not that. Like, you've got to be 100% confident that you got the sign and you're going to execute it. And we missed a couple, and but everything else is, physically, like we had no errors physically in the game, in a game where a lot of balls were hit, and so we made plays, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Errors have plagued us a little bit. And then, did you have 3 or 4 scrimmages?
we ended up scrimmaging 4 times.
Yeah.
Marietta,
Yeah, we
Logan
did
Elm,
too.
Berlin Highland, and Gallia.
I did it primarily because I knew I had a group of guys that were going to be competing for playing time and roster spots.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm going to give them these live reps opportunities to do it. But it did work out. Like, I feel like, and we played early. Like, we went to Willersburg on March 8th, which was really, really early. We were not ready. But I think that, set a bar and, gave us something to aim for. So I like the way our preseason has turned out. But still yet, just knowing, like, at the end of yesterday, we went through a little round of what I would call batting practice, and I just felt like I didn't feel like we got much done.
Yeah.
In that day, and I was like, "What do we need to do?" And I was talking to the guys about that, and you got 3 days to prepare. But talking to the coach last night, you feel good about the fundamentals if you're working on the fundamentals.
Yeah.
That's how you prepare for the things that you can't prepare for.
Right.
Right. If you're throwing, you're hitting, you're fielding, you're getting those reps, and you're doing that in practice. And you're doing it right. That's how you prepare for it.
the boring stuff.
Yeah, and that's
The stuff that you got to do
what you
every
hang
day.
your hat on.
Do you feel like this year's preseason has been longer? Like I look back at the calendars before. I feel like it's taken us forever from day one to get to game one.
Well, I'll say this: I thought it was going to be really fast, and we weren't going to have much time.
Yeah, me
But
too.
We let's see.
I don't know if we've been more efficient this year
That's
or
what-
what.
it's all- that's what
but
it's
I
always
feel like
seems.
we've had plenty of preseason. Like
yeah. I feel the same.
and
way.
our basketball team didn't advance. We advanced one game, and so
That's
maybe
true.
I would feel differently if we had advanced more.
And ours advanced too.
Yeah.
To the third game.
Yeah.
To the district championship.
Because
By the way,
if
you're
your basketball team had won the state,
I'm wearing my Megs Marauder TVC.
There you go.
undefeated
Yeah,
t-shirt
nice.
Here.
All right.
Yeah, proud of those guys.
so if your team had won, what did the state championships take place this past weekend?
March. I was thinking the 14th for some reason, but I might be wrong. No, they probably were because I think Maysville won.
I saw pictures, and I don't know if those pictures were posted like
Yeah,
a few
okay,
days
who-
later, if
who-
it happened
you know,
last night or whatever.
Once the guys come back, it's like basketball.
Oh
doesn't
yeah, it's over.
exist to me.
Right. People are asking me like, who you got in the March Madness? I'm like,
That's what someone said to me the other
I'm
day.
like, I don't know.
What was I watching?
who's in it?
I was
Like,
watching something stupid like Quantum Leap or something. They're like, "You're not even watching March Madness." I said, "I haven't watched a single March Madness game." And my kids are like, "Oh, did you see what happened?" I'm like, "No, what happened?" They're like,
yeah, a lot of
Missouri got
upsets.
beat, and I'm like,
so.
"Oh, is that big?"
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I think I feel like we have plenty of time to get ready. I mean, it's about time to start playing games. I don't feel like it's, and also the weather might have been a factor in that because
really-
we didn't practice in the gym but one time.
Yeah, it's been
And-
really nice.
And so
been very lucky in that regard.
having been able to get outside
lucky in
more.
some regard, and other not so in the other.
Yeah.
Think about the dryness that we've had and the
Yeah,
the
that's
impact
true.
it has on our
It's
grass.
been dry, and I will never complain about that because the alternative is too wet, too dry or too wet. I'd much rather have
True.
too dry in the game of baseball.
Yeah, really, I guess so. I mean, you're probably going to hurt the grass less
Because
if
you
it's-
could always add water
Yeah. Well,
artificially,
unless you have a major leak underneath your
and everything gets turned off.
your walkway.
Our sprinklers are off right now too for the same reason. There's a leak somewhere.
Oh, really?
It was pooling up behind our backstop, so it's back there somewhere. So
I walked down the
hopefully
hill.
that gets
it was
fixed soon.
Last Friday, I think. Walked down the hill and it's dry as a bone everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'm walking down the hill and all of a sudden, I'm like, what in the
Oh,
world? What's going on? I'm like, there must be a leak. So I called our operations.
You guys have a lot of concrete up there.
Oh,
Would
yeah,
your leak
that's-
get under your concrete?
Yeah, that's where it's at. It's under the concrete. They're not for sure if it's under where it's at, really. But it's somewhere under the concrete. It might be under the concession stand, the press box,
Wow.
locker room. If it is, it's going to be a job to fix. But I think hopefully they get to start working on that this week so that they
Yeah.
can get it done as soon as possible. Because it's probably going to be a mess for home games the longer it goes because they're going to have to break that concrete and dig down in it. And I don't
What's
know.
Sean going to do if it's under the concession stand? Your boosters don't run
No.
baseball concessions. do
No,
they?
they're good. They have water to theirs. And that's what we're at to walk there to use the bathroom.
Because it's a different concessions. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they're able to figure out how to turn that water on over there without turning ours on. So it's one of those things.
I don't know if we're going to have. I don't know if we're going to have concessions. You better tell your people to eat before they come to our game because Coach Huffman retired.
From your staff.
Oh no, she's still on our staff from cheerleading coach.
Oh, they ran the concession.
yes, yeah. Our cheerleaders did.
okay.
So it just depends on if whoever the new cheerleading coach is if they want to run the concessions.
So you never kept the profit from the concession for the baseball.
For baseball, no.
because you run it during basketball.
We do junior high basketball and volleyball, and then we do the on field or on the other side, visitor side track concession stand for football games.
Yeah.
Limited items, but still decent little bit of money. So,
Do you feel comfortable saying?
how much?
Yeah.
Football games because we would sell.
a year.
We would sell pizza and drinks for 5 games, and we may have made 700, maybe 750.
So you think you made about 1,500,
and then
both seasons,
for football.
football and basketball.
Oh no, basketball for junior high, because it's junior high boys and girls. Junior high boys and girls, it's about 3,600.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then volleyball we made roughly 1,500. It wasn't as good, but I tell you, in some nights it's
Man, you guys
depending
have-
on who comes to play. I mean, some nights people are hungry as can be, or they're just buying lots of drinks, and
But you had who did that for you?
I did.
You ran.
I was there almost every time, every game. Yeah, this year. Now, and I don't mind. I mean, it's it's 1 or 2 nights a week, and it's during our lifting. And so, like, people are like, "Why don't you get kids to do that?" I'm like, "Well, I'd rather they be in the weight room."
Yeah.
Because I mean, we our lifting started at 5:30. Well, I'm setting up that concession stand at 5. 5:30. Game starts at 6.
Yeah.
They could, and the kids would come out and help. And there were some times I couldn't be there, and I got volunteers, and parents would volunteer too. But it's also an opportunity for me to go hang out there a little bit. I don't live in the community, and so when I'm there, I'm doing baseball stuff. Except for at the concession stand, I get to socialize with people a little bit.
Yeah.
So so I actually really don't mind that at all. So.
Kind of wait, like I thought about that, especially with the water being off, and the challenges we might have for this week or two, or however long it takes to get water back in there.
In the concession stand, it's off in there too.
Yeah, it's off, and so I'm like, how important is that concession stand? I think we made around. I think typically we make around $2,000 throughout a season in the concession.
About 14 or so home games. Oh, no, you got JV too. Yeah.
Yeah, but JV don't bring a huge crowd in most
Right.
cases. But like,
Depends on who you play.
Our scrimmage the other night.
Yeah, right.
JV or Eastern.
Did you guys have concessions?
We didn't, but I was like, I'm standing.
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. I'm standing out there calling balls and strikes, thinking, man,
It's a good crowd.
It'd have been nice to have concessions,
Right.
So
Right.
and like that's another thing. I thought, well, maybe you identify the games that you're going to have good crowds,
Oh,
and
yeah.
have the concession on that.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of thinking about maybe reaching out to some of the clubs, like the junior class, who's always raising money for prom or
Giving them the
National Honor
opportunity.
Society, and just give them a little bit of the profit too, and let them run it. But
They're going to sell your stuff,
yeah,
and so they would get a
either way, because I think part of that is the environment.
yeah.
Having that concession stand does create it's kind of like,
Oh, I agree.
people walk up and they have
Yeah.
if you don't have a concession stand, well, they don't have a concession stand.
What do
You
we
know
do?
I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of an
Oh, yeah.
environment thing there, atmosphere is
Yep.
what I'm looking for. But yeah, we'll
Making
see.
me
I
feel
mean,
bad now. I'm gonna have to get on. I'm about to see.
definitely
Jennifer, you gonna get
need the
somebody
money. So
need somebody in the concessions. So, hey, we have. Not that I don't enjoy talking about our rivalry here, because I asked you what our topic of conversation was going to be, and today, since we're just talking about our upcoming game,
yeah.
and we're not really talking much about it. Are you keeping your cards close to the cuff?
What do you want to talk about?
I want to know who you're starting.
I don't know. I'm starting it.
Let's see. I actually got a text last night from an old friend, actually an Eastern alum.
Depending on how this game goes Friday,
who
you
was
might
also-
get a text from an old friend from me.
He was also on my staff during Brock's junior year in 2016. He was a student here, and he was looking to just kind of be involved with a baseball team, and
So you asked him to help you, huh?
he helped, and it was great having him there. Jake Lynch.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jake was outstanding athlete at Eastern High School, basketball player. I don't know what his best sport was, because he was great at everything he played. But
he's a baseball player.
He was, yeah.
I don't care what his best sport was.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
a
his
baseball
his little boy right now too is a pretty stud football player.
Really?
He's got that kid throwing and going to quarterback camps and
Oh,
stuff as a
nice.
young
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
He's got a little Joe Burrow down there. He lives in
Sweet.
Cincinnati now. So
I
unfortunately,
know him and Joel, his brother Joel.
Joel went down there and
travel
got in law
baseball.
enforcement, I think, and then Jake followed in fact, he was was taking his test, or he was beginning his new job when we were on our regional run in 2016, and it was like, because I've got the last pictures I have with Jake with us was when we won the district championship, and then Hewitt, me, and Jake were there standing there holding the plaque, and he was like, "Man, it's my first week on the job, and during the regional games," and I was, well, what do you do? He's like, "I don't know what I should do." Well, what do you mean? You don't know? You got to go to your job, but that's how much he loved baseball. I'm like, yeah, you can't even consider trying to ask for time off to go to this, and so we really missed him in those regional. I think it was just the regional championship game. He may have actually been at the game we played against Waverly. But it was that championship game against Steubenville. So we'll blame him for the loss. he mixed it up on us. His presence wasn't there. But no, Jake texted me last night and was asking me about a podcast topic. And so I read it. We were almost at Gallia Academy when I got it. And so I replied to him real quick and said, "Hey, getting ready to play a scrimmage, but I'll read this and get back to you." So I never did get back to him last night. So why don't we do this? Why don't I read it now?
Okay.
And we just talk about it now.
All right, that works.
All right. What time is it? We got about a half an hour in. Let's see and if this takes a little bit longer, we can always pick up next time. So here it is. Topic worthy of discussion for podcasts, or maybe just answer me directly, is coaches' strategies in tournaments. So he's talking specifically about like travel ball tournaments, right? Where you've got pool play and certain number of teams get selected after pool play to make the bracket play, and then you've got usually the bracket play, depending on what age you're in. Bracket play starts on Saturday, say, and then it finishes on Sunday. We call it Championship Sunday. It's sort of how those club baseball teams work. So he's talking specifically about saving pitchers for the following day. Like, what's your philosophy on this? The approach appears to be to prioritize potential future victories over immediate success. And he says, which I find perplexing, which I tend to agree, but we'll get there. He's like me. I want to win every game and make subsequent matches more manageable. I'd appreciate your insights on this. It's ironic that the ace pitcher often is conserved throughout the weekend, may not even pitch due to an earlier loss, not making the bracket, or you're saving him for the championship and you lose your first round of the bracket play. Yeah. He says, I know similar things happen in high school. When you're in a week of playing 5 or 6 games, who are we going to save him for? Although I don't think too deeply about it in high school. I want to win my league games, and so we had a kid talking with me. I had some guys talking with me last night about looking at our first week. We've got a league game packed in the middle of Athens, Lancaster, and Jackson.
Yeah, you got Waterford Tuesday.
Yeah, we got Athens Monday, Waterford Tuesday.
I wouldn't throw in. I'd probably throw maybe 5 or 6 against us just to make sure, because you never know. You try a guy out there, he might not be healthy.
He may not be able to get healthy within a few days.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, that's kind of his question. How do you handle pitching? Who wants to take it?
And step back. Are we talking about in those travel ball situations?
Well, I think his context is a travel ball situation. Yeah. Like I said, I think for high school you do have a similar situation, but I'm not going to throw I have Waterford on.
It doesn't.
Tuesday.
It actually works out. Like if I'm you, if I'm sitting in your seat, I'm throwing your day one against us. At least it's early in the year, so I'd probably only throw about 25 pitches. But no, I'd limit his pitch count.
Oh yeah.
But then
we're limiting everybody's pitch counts early in the season. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'd have him back Tuesday. To be ready to go.
Yeah. You're trying to get me to say, yeah, that's what we're doing.
I know what
I don't know what we're doing.
I know you're pitching. I know you're pitching. But
I'm pitching the guy that says, I want the ball. When I have somebody come up to me and say, you're pitching me against Megs, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. That'll be my answer.
You like that. What if someone comes to you and says, I don't want the ball tomorrow, I want it Tuesday? How do you
Well, Friday to Tuesday?
Now we're getting off
topic. That could be the same guy. Anyways. Yeah, anyway. Sorry, back to Jake.
At high school level, I think I could say I've had a rotation. I haven't really, but when looking back to last year, and even when you only have 3 starters and they pitch most of your innings, you still have a rotation, so to speak, and you have a guy that's next up in your mind. But if that next up falls on a game that you have to win, then for me, coming out of that rotation and pitching the guy that gives you the best chance to win,
if that guy's available, you're gonna go away from the book,
right,
the plan, and
right.
throw that. Yeah, same with you there.
Yeah. So, but with these tournaments, so the question is, and you could say this is true for postseason too, because every once in a while I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking back about
regrets
winning our district semi 10-2 and losing our district championship 3-1 or 3-0. And knowing that if, first of all, the guy that pitched in our district championship, which was Drew Dotson.
Yeah, he threw a great game. I watched that.
I mean, if you tell me, like, knowing that, it's like, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you coming into that game, you tell me we're only going to give up 3 runs, one of them was unearned. Okay.
Yep.
Deal. Great job, Drew. And he did pitch a great game. He really did. But the approach,
right, the plan
is to win that district championship.
Yeah.
It's not to win a district semifinal. It's to win a district championship.
And it's tough, though, because you can't win the district championship unless you win the district semifinal.
That's true. And so from when I think about travel ball, and we've kind of done it both ways in our experience. In my experience, we've saved our pitchers.
Yeah, I did that.
And we've pitched our pitchers. And I think there's 2 separate arguments. One, you save your pitchers for the big games the next day on pool play, or bracket play. But if you're not throwing those guys, like if you don't think you can win games and be competitive in pool play, it's going to put you in a spot on bracket play day that isn't advantageous. Right? So sometimes you think, let's throw our guys if we have to. We'll throw them as long as we have to win games, so that we're in we have a good seed.
So you get a better seed in the bracket play. Yeah.
So it's kind of tough.
And if you have to, like, let's say you're in a tournament with 80 teams, and only 20 are making the bracket. So every pool, the winner of the pool makes a bracket.
Yes.
Well, you really need to treat that like it's bracket play already.
Yeah.
You got to win your bracket.
That's a good point.
Right? Or if the top 2, like half the bracket, the top 2 teams go, that makes a little different. But like if everybody's gone, they're just going to seed you from how you finished in your bracket, then I think in that situation, I probably will save my 1 and 2 on my travel team, and did. I mean, I'm away from travel ball now, but I can speak from experience too. But I did the same thing that you're talking about. I can remember how I was 11U up in Bowling Green in the Nation State Tournament. Our 1 and 2 never threw a pitch all weekend. And I don't regret it. Like it's 11 years old ball, but yeah, I remember how devastating that drive home was. Thinking, golly, what good did it do to save these guys, right? Because we were good. Like we made it through pool play. We hit the ball really well, and we were I think a 2 seed out of there was a bunch of teams up there. We're like, and everybody's like, this team's good. So we go into bracket play now. And I'm like, hey, let's save 1 and 2 because we only need to win 3 games. So let's go with somebody else. And we get behind the 8, but we get behind like 6 runs early. And it's like, now we got to bring one of those guys in. So we bring one of those guys in to shut, and he didn't give up any runs, but we were behind too many runs and we lose.
Yeah. And
so now we're going home. I shouldn't say that. 1 did throw a little bit, but I mean, we didn't start them, and we have a kid that we knew could be a lockdown, win a game pitcher. And, one of those was Brennan Sano. The other one was Philip Hoffman. That was 1 and 2. And 2 kids that were, back in as 11 years old, throwing in the 70s. And by high school, I think Philip ended up in the 90s in college. He pitched at Marshall. And Sano was upper 80s. But, they were just sitting kids down. And
But do you win your second game if you throw? Do you win your second and third game if you throw one of those guys in your first game?
See, and I think now the difference in my philosophy, like I'll just give you my answer. My philosophy now is I can't think about game two. Yeah. I'm kind of with Jake. Like I'm agreeing. Like Jake's like his thought is I got to win game one.
Yeah.
And before I get to game two, I look back. Let's go back to high school ball. Brock's senior year, we played Marietta in the regional semifinal down here at Ohio University, Wren Stadium, and we threw our number two, who pitched a really great game. But the problem is, we went into extra innings, and it was tied, and he hit his pitch count, and so I had to go to number one at that point. And they did too. But one of us was going home after that game, so it didn't matter. And
but you weren't throwing your number one coming in. You threw your number two.
Yeah, that's correct. Right. Because we hit the crap out of the ball that year. We knew.
I think
we
the
knew
team,
we could. Yeah,
I think your team
we knew we could score runs. And
too.
Ironically enough, the year before we played that same team in the district championship, and it was a 1-0 or it was 1-0 game.
Wow.
And the next year it was it ended up being like 11-9 or 11-10.
Game. I watched it up
and it was exciting, man.
The grassy knoll.
And so then
it was so funny. That game was like, rooting for you guys. It was like you went from we have this game to we're beat to we have this game to we're beat.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
It was back
and then
and
it was
forth.
like close.
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, it was offensive explosions until both teams I think got to their aces, and now it's like, okay, whoever scores next is going to win, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
and so
it was a great game.
The problem was we won that game, and then that was the regional semi. The regional championship was scheduled to be the next day. So the only way for us to be able to throw our ace was if he had stayed under 30 pitches. Well, he threw 3 innings.
Yeah.
And so he was done. And it rained the next day. I think he threw 60-some pitches or something like that.
Oh, man.
So he only needed 2 days rest. And it rained, and so they postponed the game one day. And I'm like, I'm praying for more rain. Because if the game had been moved to Sunday, because we played that semi on Thursday, and if the game had been moved to Sunday, we would have had him. And he was like, Coach, I'm pitching if I can. Right? I'm like, absolutely, no question about it. You've already told me you don't want to play in college. I will ruin you to win this state tournament. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but no, I mean that's how close it was, man. I mean, because I truly, but here's the thing. When we played the game, we were down 1 and 2, and we didn't have a true 3 that year, and we didn't really need one. Those 2 guys started every game, and then we used relievers.
Yep.
And so we didn't have somebody who was used to starting, especially big games. I mean, the next guy started a few games, and it was one of those situations where people were like, "Man, he's going to use Sano." Like, what do you want me to do? If I don't use number 1 in the Marietta game and we lose,
there's no game.
So the idea is, let's get there. Let's get to the regional championship with whatever we can and figure it out. I mean,
you realize we've given Jake nothing.
There were so many. There were so many. One or two of Brock's travel years, we made it to Sunday championship game a handful of times, and those are always fun. But those are never good games. Because by then everybody was using pitching pretty much the same. You were using your good guy. Like what we did, Jake, is out of pool play, bracket play number 1, we threw our ace. We want to win that first game. Bracket play number 2, we threw number 2. Bracket play number 3, if you got to win 4 games. I mean, the older you get, the more games you got to win the championship. And so if you're in like one of these Cincy Flames tournaments or one of these national tournaments, you got to play 6 games. So that's why these teams stack so many POs, pitcher only.
I was just
going to
say,
right?
I was going to say,
because a guy will come in and pitch game 1 for you, and then just say, "Hey, have a good weekend," right? You may as well.
That's exactly what
you don't even have to show up. But most of these teams, by the time you get to the championship, most teams don't have enough. So you're throwing whoever. The team Alex played for last year, he was throwing a lot of games on Sundays. And he never pitched an inning for us for 2 years. But he was pitching for his team because they're like, well, who else can pitch? We need somebody to pitch this championship game. and that's just, and here's, I mean, that's travel ball. Why are we playing so many games between Thursday and Sunday? I mean, those kids will go away from a weekend sometimes having played 10 games. Not necessary.
So I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm open
And
for-
it's unhealthy. I mean, it really is. Like if you're scraping to find someone to pitch on Sunday, and that means you've completely used up everybody that you can possibly use that has actually pitched. And it ends up being, unfortunately, a lot of those championship games end up being not good baseball at all.
Yeah, I can.
There's a reason why a lot of people would prefer to watch the state semifinal games at the OHSAA level than the state championship games. Because like last year's state semi, Highland and Russia, they were throwing Koblenz, and I don't know, the Rushi's ace was also thrown in the 90s. Buddy, that was a fun game. You know, I was keeping
didn't
an eye on
Highland
them.
like win the championship by 7 or 8 rounds? Or
No,
something?
actually, they in the Fort Recovery actually played them pretty tight.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
I thought they won big.
and the year before they beat Russia, so they've won the state championship 2 years in a row. In 2023, they beat Russia in the state championship by mercy rule.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like 14 to something.
Yeah, Jake, I don't know. I think you have a philosophy as a coach, and that you adjust that based on what you know about the other teams in the tournament, about what you know about your team, you know, the roster that you have on the weekend, on the day, and
By the tournament rules, how many games you got to play to get there,
Right.
all that stuff.
yeah, right. So it's tricky.
It is.
Know where he's at.
It is.
But it's like you are there to win the tournament.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
you're not. Maybe sometimes you're just there to get as many games in as you can play. And if you're there to get as many games in as you play, then it makes sense to bracket play game one, number one.
Right.
Game two, number two, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And hopefully the other teams that you're playing do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I think it's more of a gamble to throw off early than it is to try to win early and gamble being able to win the championship. I would rather walk away from a tournament going, I know that we did everything we could to get here,
Yeah.
even though we maybe lost in the semifinal round or something, but
Yeah.
because we didn't have any pitching left.
But no one remembers.
I felt worse.
No one remembers when you lose the district championship.
Regardless, yeah, I know. Looking back, I can say this from experience. Looking back, I felt worse going back home, knowing that we had a really good pitcher still sitting.
Sure. It's like not
sitting.
using your timeouts.
His arm is
Can't
fresh.
take him with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Tricky.
It is. It
Tricky.
is. And if you're coaching a team and you got coaches with different philosophies, like maybe the reason he's asking is because that this is what he believes, but his assistant coaches or other coaches believe something different. Maybe they're button heads. This is why you need somebody to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And
That's
because a lot of times travel teams will have like co-coaches.
Yep.
And we got into that trap early with Brock's age group. There was like 6 different guys trying to coach a 8U team. And
Yeah. You got to have a guy that
the buck has to stop with somebody. And
Yep.
you got to have somebody that gets all the blame from the parents, right?
Right.
And so if you want to step up and be that guy, then,
all right, for sure.
because you're not going to get any credit.
And I hope that is you come Friday.
Is this Brock suggesting who we should start?
Coach Stewart
He
chiming
just-
in there.
He's just somebody wants to schedule a JV game.
It doesn't matter who you start, but you remember you're spotting us 4 runs for the 10 bags of quick dry.
Oh, we got those ready.
Oh no, I want the runs.
We're gonna toss those in your
I want
bus.
the runs.
We're gonna toss
I'll
those
take the
quick
runs.
dry bags in your bus. So, I don't think we had any to use. We didn't use any quick dry the night you came over and played us last year. We just played through mud.
I don't think
That's why we had to borrow. That's how you knew, in order for us to get through tournament game, you guys need to borrow some quick dry. Because the last time I was there, I think you needed some quick dry. We didn't use it.
How did we play that game?
It was just muddy. Yeah, people don't realize how it was. It was.
That was ridiculous.
It was. The kids had fun.
Yours did. Mine just give me a hard time.
Yours
about
were
it.
the ones that were like, we
Say
want
it.
to play.
Yes,
we wanna
thank
play.
you, Coach. They're all.
Oh,
now,
they're
now
saying
they're all like,
they're saying
wow,
they didn't.
You put it on us.
I can
so
still
of course
see
we're
myself walking out to they were standing around our mound right there, and I had a rake in my hand, and I look at you, and I was about to say, you guys may as well go home, and both sets of kids, the kids wearing maroon and the kids wearing white, were going, oh, let's just play. We all want to play because they're all friends.
What we should have done
anyway, and they're
what
like,
we
it'll
should
be
have
fun.
done.
Let's
They just
play.
called it a scrimmage, like the softball team did.
The softball team did call it a scrimmage,
Yeah.
and I don't understand that.
Well, because I mean, it wasn't a real. It's the conditions were just horrible.
If you're
It's
gonna
not even.
play,
It's not even a real
play.
game with that. It's muddy and the mud got in Pat's eyes. Umpiring behind the mound, he couldn't see the balks and
Behind the mound. Oh, the guy, the field up. Yeah.
I gave Pat a hard time. I think it was. I thought
That's right, because Tabler was there, and he
I
was
thought
like,
what-
"Let's just play."
I thought one of your pitchers balked, and I said, "Would mud get in your eye, Pat?" And like a play or two pitches later, I got a runner thrown out at third base,
Yeah,
advancing.
Yeah, on
And
a close play.
He called him out. Pat called him out.
He couldn't wait.
Did you get mud in your eye, Coach?
Did he say that? Because you were waving him. Yeah,
I like Pat.
I do too.
Yeah, good job. Well, who you pitching?
I'm thinking about throwing Shepard or Clay. I don't
Yeah.
know. One of the guys I threw last night. So,
Yeah, probably last night.
no. No, those guys are both going to pitch a lot this year, though. Yeah, going back to that last night, it's just because and this is good for kids to understand. Just because you have what you see to be a bad outing, like I told him on the bus on the way home, I said, buddy, you got to understand, this isn't a bad outing. It was just a day where you were leaving the ball, up belt high, and a team was putting the barrel on it.
Yeah, and you know what? As a pitcher, sometimes you have bad outing every once in a
I mean,
while, too.
to me, a bad outing is you can't throw a strike,
Yeah,
and I got to
yeah,
come and
that's
get you,
fair.
right? I would have come and got it in a real. He wouldn't have been. And I told him that too. I said we would have gone and gotten you after giving. You gave up 11 runs in one inning. They scored 11 runs in the second inning and then didn't score anything the rest of the night. Yeah. They had 10 hits all night. 9 of them came in that inning.
9.
It was
the Big Bang.
Yeah, it was wild, and so our guys were like. And here's what's cool though. It's a scrimmage, right? But it still it's work. Everybody's competitive, and so the air gets left out of your balloon. Like the kids are coming off, and their eyes are like this, like what the heck just happened? And I said, hey, this is going to happen to us at some point during the season.
Yeah, it's a good spot
let's
to be
see what
in.
we,
Down,
let's see what we do.
You're down 11 to
11-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what we do after the second inning. Yeah. And after that, the rest of our pitchers shut everything down. We scored 11 runs, and then it got dark.
That's what
But we had momentum. I got a little mad at John. I texted him this morning and apologized. I said, hey, there's a scrimmage. I said, we got plenty of work. But he's like, oh, it's too dark. I'm leaving. This game's over. And I'm like, it's the sixth inning, and it's been the same darkness all. And so I was kind of arguing, like, what? I'm like,
we've
do
had
you
a
agree
few-
with this? And I'm talking to Corey across the way and everything. And afterwards, I thought, yeah, I shouldn't have.
But that is their
I shouldn't
call.
have reacted that way,
right?
Yeah.
It is the umpire's
out of the
call, 'cause
safety of the
I think
players.
that it falls on them.
It does.
We actually Fairland and Ironton, both of those games we called due to darkness.
Was that
in the
before
middle of an
was that
inning.
before the time change?
No, it was after.
Really?
Both those games. were
Yeah,
after.
it depends on where your
But it
field
was-
sits
it
too
was-
here
it
in
was
Southeast
cloudy.
Ohio. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
both the games got started late because Fairland had some busing issues getting to us. We had busing issues getting to
Yeah.
Ironton. And
We didn't have that. We started right on time last night, but Coach Campbell said
but you had those 2 long innings.
we'd had 2 long innings, and their field has a lot of hill. Like their school building sits behind the field. There's a hillside.
So the sun
A
goes
big
down quick.
hillside where it's beautiful. Cows up there. You could see deer coming up and down the hill, and the sun goes down behind it, like at your place. You guys have sun going down behind the hillside too a little bit.
Yeah.
But he said we haven't played a 7-inning scrimmage yet. He played all home scrimmages, I think, He said they've all gotten called from darkness, and we didn't have that problem. We did just fine. Like even Marietta was a Saturday though, so that didn't matter.
Yeah.
But Logan Elm started to get a little darker, but I guess all of our other two scrimmages were on weekend and 2 were on weeknights. So I don't know. So keep them hustling in and out Friday so we get 7 innings in.
No problem.
Unless you mercy us in 5. So
I mean, we only with the 8 runs you're spotting us, we only got to get to 2 and hold you to none. So
it was 4. Now it's 8. Oh, 4 bags of clay or turfus and
the quick dry, runs. And then just
what's the 8 runs for?
For
the practices on your football field.
Yeah, it's rental.
So it ought to be football. Jackson ought to spot them.
No, I don't know. I don't know if you just use the football field. Thank you. My pitching machine, the wheel on it's broke.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's been kind of
broke
wobbling,
since last May.
Wobbling since. I ordered a new one and it's delayed.
Oh, one of the wheels that actually shoves the ball through.
A wheel that you roll it with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Coach,
it's about that time.
We'll call her a day, and if things go right, I'll talk to you after.
We'll see.
I'll talk to you after the game.
Podcast next week.
I'll talk to you after the game on Friday. If they don't, I don't know. We may start the beginning of the no handshake line Friday.
That's right. Otherwise, somebody might fight.
I did turn Uncle Dustin Huffman away as a family member to see our game changer.
I heard he tried to join your team. He's sneaky like that.
Yeah. So
on the game changer?
Game changer. Yeah. So I turned that down.
Have you had a bunch of people that you're playing this year show up as fans of your team and your game changer? I've noticed that.
Not that I know of.
I'm like, who's this guy? And then I look him up. It's like, oh, he's from so-and-so. He's from so-and-so. Yeah, because you can be a fan of anybody, and it just basically means that their team is in your.
And if you're a fan, but the stats are blocked, you can watch the live games, but you can't do anything else.
You can watch the live games if you don't have the video blocked.
Well, I mean, on the stream.
Oh yeah, you can watch that. Yes, you can watch it live, and you can see the box score.
You can see the box
and
score.
the summary, but you can't see the team stats or the spray charts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that you have to have a subscription of some sort even to see those things. So it didn't used to be that way. I think Game Changer changed that because I noticed that.
I talked to him up at
I did
Columbus
too.
About maybe being able to hide those spray charts.
And warn you a little bit sooner.
You know what they told me?
You can hide the spray charts completely.
Not just the spray charts though. Like to make other things available, but hide the spray charts. Like you can hide the video. You can just hide a video.
Yeah.
You can't just hide the spray charts. Like it hides everything. If you can hide everything.
Hide spray charts and team stats.
Yes.
Why not do that?
Why not just hide everything like I'm doing now?
Right.
But you know what they told me to do? Don't put the right play in the game changer.
No, but see that's.
Oh yeah.
But the problem
that's what I did to you last year too. Remember when Addy got that?
Yeah,
every
right,
second?
right.
That set you up. Boy.
Do you use another another book?
Yeah. Yeah, Coach Fife
and
is
then
returning to be our scorekeeper this year.
That'd be awfully hard to say. Hey, every time a ball's hit the left, put it in right. And every time a ball's hit the.
I'm just gonna put everything in as a bunt single, bunt single or a bunt out.
Right, man. They don't hit anything out of the infield. None of these guys do.
You know what?
Everybody's striking out.
As I was sitting up there and I was arguing my point to the game changer fellows, and I had Coach Tim Saunders there with me, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, how valuable are those spray charts to a high school team?
You don't have enough sample size.
Yeah. You know, just like I don't go to other teams and look at their spray charts. You know, just to play.
I will if it's I do look for them, and then I try to look because their spray charts are also telling you if they're available. They're not only telling you what they did against you, but late in the season after they've played 20 games.
Yeah.
you can
Well,
get
yeah. If you're
pretty
going
good-
to turn, I would.
Yeah.
I would look at anything you can
Yeah.
get there, but I just mean,
Am I going to adjust my defense according to it? I mean, it has to be pretty.
I mean, you saw. Did you
probability
guys
has to be
play us
pretty
any
high.
different last year? You didn't pull.
We
did you?
shifted that one kid a little bit. We had Willie up the middle almost on Whitlatch just because he didn't hit. There was one ball or one or two. I think there was 2 balls all season long, and that was late in the season because your spray shots were wide open,
Yeah.
right? You were getting ready to play Athens the next day, I think.
Yeah, my
So
my
Newsom had
friend
them all
my
printed
friend
out.
kept that a secret
But
from me.
I didn't. I looked at it the day before. I'm like, oh, he's left these open. I figured I'd tell you after the game. But it didn't work out. I mean, he poked one right in the right field. I mean,
He hit one hard
Yeah,
in
and
right
that
center
could've-
against Athens too. That
it could have been a line drive right at our second baseman if we have him playing normal depth. But yeah, I think we shifted. Definitely shifted the infield, but not the outfielders probably because they
Yeah.
try to keep those in the gap. But yeah, I don't know. I think of it like you said, like what good does it do you? And also I think to myself, we're trying to find this stuff in high school because it's not easy to find information on other teams. Imagine being in college ball right now or pro ball. Like there's video everywhere. I mean, you can see like if you're a college team now, there's no reason to not have a bank of film on the teams that you're playing. Team that you're playing this weekend.
you want an analytics
because
department.
ESPN
is what you
Plus,
want. Yeah.
ESPN, yeah,
A stat department or whatever you want to call it. Someone that's looking at
Yeah,
those
you can
things
get
and-
full scouting reports available, and so there's not even any reason to try to hide. Like, so nobody's hiding stats in the age of media, right? But in high school, it's like, no, we got to keep everything close to the cuff. It's like, how much does it really? Like, have you ever called somebody and said, "Hey, what do you know about this team?" And they say, "I'm not telling you because I play them in my league," or "I'm not telling you because they're my friend," or
I
whatever.
haven't. I've had the opposite.
You've said, "I'm not telling you."
No, the people that I've called are like, yeah, we play them twice.
Yeah, we play in my league. Here's
here
what you
you
got to
go.
do to beat them. Yeah, yeah. No, I've had that happen before, where guys will say, "I'm not going to give you anything."
Oh,
okay.
That's respectable.
Yeah, yeah. I don't get mad about it.
I mean, I probably.
But
would.
my thought is, you're not going to give me anything that's really going to help me.
the biggest thing
I
I've
think
been
it's
asked.
just peace of mind. I think,
The biggest thing I've been asked about other teams is pitching velocity or tendencies.
yeah, to try to prepare for that.
But I mean, I've asked the same thing, and I've gotten mixed responses. Like, I know a few years ago we played the Lucasville ballot, and I think his name was Arnett.
Yep.
They said like he throws 85. She did when he threw a fastball, which I think he threw about 8 the whole game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
The other game he was just
Right.
curveballs,
Yeah.
change up, just mixing it up on us. So we went into that game ready for a
Yeah.
fastball, and got a bunch of off-speed
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So it kind of worked against us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
It's true.
hopefully that will not happen Friday.
Definitely will not happen Friday.
Yeah. We prepped and ready to go. Since I know who you're pitching, that's who we're preparing for.
Yeah.
Well, nice talking to you. Try to keep it rolling. Feels busy.
It does.
Stick with us, folks.